proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today.
Everyone knows someone that's a veteran, and we're going to see what High Point thinks about Veterans Day. This is Tristan, welcome to Wildcat News. So why do you think Veterans Day is important?
I think Veterans Day is important because it really gives us a chance to embrace our country and thank everyone who fought for us.
I think Veterans Day is important because it's a day to show remembrance of the people that served and risked their lives for us to live.
All right. Well, Veterans Day is very important because where would our nation be without the veteran? It was started by those who fought for freedom, kicked the British out, and that's what got our nation rolling. We wouldn't be a free nation for those who were not afraid to defend it. And somebody once said, I believe it was Martin Luther King, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And so it was the veteran who bore the brunt of not only protecting but enabling our freedom.
Do you have any relatives that were in any wars?
My uncle is currently in the Air Force, and my dad used to be in the Air Force.
Yes, my brother and my two uncles.
Well, I'm the first generation in this country. My father was born here, but his parents were not. And my mother was born in Ireland. But my father served 6 years in the National Guard. He got drafted, but they said he could go in the National Guard, so he chose that. And that was in the 1950s. My older brother served 8 years active duty in the Navy. And he didn't see any combat or anything like that. But he was in some areas, like in 1985 when we bombed Libya. And he was also in El Salvador. I served 4 years in the Marines. I'm a Gulf War veteran. But again, Veterans Day isn't just about those who were in combat. It's about those who are ready to go at a moment's notice. It's those who wore the uniform, took the oath of allegiance to swear and defend the Constitution with their lives. So I just happened to go to a combat zone.
So what war were your relatives in?
My uncle was in Afghanistan, and my dad, he didn't go to war.
My two uncles were in the Vietnam War, and my brother served in the Navy for 6 years.
I went to the Persian Gulf War of 1990-1991, better known as Desert Storm. I call it the Gulf War. I was there from November till May, came home in 1991, and I was part of what was called Task Force Ripper of the 1st Marine Expeditionary Force. We were the first 4,000 Marines in the Kuwait. We were the spearhead. We punched a hole through the Iraqi defenses. And just a little side note here, that going into Kuwait, a lot of the news media outlets kept talking about how high the casualties were going to be, how high, and how tough the Iraqi army was. That kind of bothered us because we got newspaper articles and magazines like Time Magazine and Newsweek, and they kept saying how high the casualties were going to be. We didn't really think about that. We were well trained and we knew our job, and we were confident in our ability. And not to say that we weren't scared, of course we were, but you got to try and put that out of your mind. But that kind of bothered us that they all said we were going to get killed and wounded and stuff. We didn't. George Patton once said, "Don't die for your country, let the other poor dumb bastard die for his." So we tried to live by that philosophy, if that makes any sense. So, but anyway, one more thing I might add, as crazy as things might sound, or as this might sound, I'm glad I did it. I'm proud I did it. I couldn't have done it with a better bunch of Marines, and I'd do it again.
So how did you spend Veterans Day?
I spent Veterans Day by hanging out with my dad and his brother, and we all just hung out and we had a family dinner.
I went out to lunch with my brother.
Veterans Day this past Saturday, I just quiet, went out to lunch with my wife, just had a quiet day, came back home and just watched some movies and relaxed, didn't do much.
And that's what High Point thinks about Veterans Day, folks. My name's Tristan, I'm from Wildcat News, and remember to stay fierce, cats.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know